It's the Untold Stories, and welcome to another exciting episode. My name is Betty Yosin, and I will be doing this with my colleague Maclean Atsu Dzidienyu. And today we have a special guest. You will love his life story. As we always do it, we bring you some untold stories about your favorite sports personality. And today we have para athlete Maclean Atsu Dzidienyu. I don't know if I got the name right. Did I get the name right?
Sure.
Yeah, so yes, Maclean Atsu Dzidienyu is our guest on today's episode of the Untold Story, a para athlete who competes for Ghana, and we are right here at the Accra Sports Stadium, the tennis court to be precise, and we will be, listening to his life story. Welcome on the show, Atsu.
Yeah, thank you very
how
much.
have you been?
Yeah, doing pretty good.
Okay, and we know that because of the COVID-19, there have been a ban on social gatherings, so there's no sporting activities going on. What have you been doing to keep up?
Okay, so for now, I've got some dumbbells in the house and some mats that I've been doing morning exercise, some arm press and stretches and stuff to stomach exercise and other workouts to just keep me fit and then put me in shape. That is what basically I've been doing.
Had sports always been an interest or a passion? How did you enter into the field? Was it that you as a kid you always wanted to be an athlete, or it's something that you felt like, well, I feel like this is the time I need to pursue this kind of a career?
Okay, honestly, when I started poorly by saying that I had my disability at the age of 9 through a wrong injection of a doctor who injected my vein.
Wow.
And so my lower limbs got paralyzed at the age of 9. By then, I do play football with my colleagues, but it wasn't something that I had maybe interest in.
That was when you were younger?
Yeah, when I was working, let's say 7, 8, that way I've been playing football with my colleagues. But after I had my disability, then the perception was very bad. So I was really neglected from my family. Honestly, I was rejected. So I was living in an uncompleted buildings, and then I was setting traps in the bush to trap partridge, rodents, and trap fish in the nearby rivers to sell in the market before I could make ends meet. So as time goes on, I, I met some benevolent people who supported me to go into school. And aside that, whilst I was growing too, I was still trapping, farming, weeding for people, digging manhole and those sort of stuff. And it was all the things that I was doing to support myself too.
But how sorry to cut in, but how
Yeah.
were you neglected by your family?
Okay, so then by 92, when your family happens to suffer from a deformity, the perception is that maybe your family is cursed, and so nobody would like to associate
But it
him or
wasn't something you were
hers
born with.
happen through the negligence of a doctor who injected my vein. So it happened at the age of 9. So it means that I've walked, I've run. Those days when my dad is even going to the farm, I was the one that have been carrying the water, the drinking water.
And this happened in which region? Is it
Yeah,
Greater Accra?
in Greater Accra at Ashoman, a place called Ashoman. So after this paralyzation, or after I got paralyzed, life was very, very tough because the stigma and the perception then was very bad. And so I just have to just try and then do something for myself. And so that is why I said I was trapping fish, hunting to sell in the market before I could get money to buy gari, sugar, or buy food from the choba and those stuff. This this situation continued for some time until I got into junior high. I got to senior high.
So you were fending for your own school?
Sure. But some
Wow.
people in my area saw the effort that I was
You were
doing, so
making.
sometimes they helped me enroll into school. So after I've been doing this even when I was in Accra Technical University during weekends. I go to hunt and then I use that to support myself. Sometimes if I go with my colleagues, I've gotten maybe a plot of land to weed. Sometimes I'll be on campus.
You
And
read?
yeah, I read. I've
Wow.
got pictures and videos to show you that I started poorly, but through sports, God, God has put me somewhere with which I'm still pressing on to see what God has in stock for me in the future.
You talked about Accra Technical University.
University, yeah.
I know you're a graduate.
Sure.
And uh, in what?
Yeah, so I completed in with a higher national diploma in accounting, and aside Accra Technical University having my HND, I've done other courses too in the US and then Germany to really add to my CV
Okay.
as an accountant.
So why? I mean, yes, you decided to do sports, but
Yeah.
with your background, I mean, did you try your hands on any other jobs, especially in Ghana here,
Yeah.
where okay, let me try my luck. Let me
Okay.
try my luck. Maybe I will be employed. Have you gone through such process?
Okay, so the interesting story was that after I completed Accra Technical University and then I did my service with the Center for Employment of Persons Living with Disabilities. But even during the service, first I was posted to Teachers Fund,
Okay.
Teachers Fund on the Ridge Road, but the HR said the place wasn't accessible for a wheelchair user, so I was taken to MTN Trust Tower. There too, when I was taken, they said they've taken enough people, so they cannot allow me to do my service there. And so it was getting frustrated. I'll go to the National Service Secretariat, they'll post me to this place, and then the same story. I even came to the Ministry of Finance, Controller, and stuff to see if they could do something about me getting a place to do my national service, but the whole excuse was that the institution was not accessible and they are olden days building, and so maybe I should find out from some banks who are accessible to see if I can do my national service. Out of the frustration, my boss, who was then Mr. Alexander Tete and was the CEO for Center for Employment of Persons Living with Disability, accepted me at the rehabilitation center. And so that was where I did my national service.
So it wasn't like you didn't try your hands
I
on
tried a lot.
other office
I
jobs,
tried a lot.
but
I
you were
tried
not
a lot.
accepted.
Yes,
Yeah.
because with this excuse that their institution are not disability friendly, or they are not friendly to a wheelchair user. And so it was getting frustrated. But one thing, how I got into the sports was that one day I was from the bush going home at Dodowa.
After hunting.
Yes, with some game and a gun strap on my chest. Going home, when I met the production manager for the Ghana Society of for the physically disabled chalk production. So he was a production officer. He saw me. He also lived there and said that, wow, he's never seen like somebody crawling on the ground who is a hunter, and with my upper body strength, he feels I could play basketball.
Okay.
So he followed me to my mom and then introduced himself and then introduced the sports to my mom. Honestly, we were all interested, and I was also curious to see the kind of sports he was talking about. So the following Saturday, my mom brought me to Accra from Dodowa, and then I had to join my colleagues. Honestly, when I saw my colleagues play the basketball, I said to myself that I could play this game
Much better than
much
them.
better than them because like I've got the strength. So through that, after 3 months, I really performed very well, and I was part of the regional team. So when they are selecting 5, they add me because I had an interest and then I fell in love with it. So when I got into the sports fraternity, I had the opportunity to do hand cycling, play wheelchair basketball, play wheelchair tennis, and then do wheelchair racing. At the end, I fell in love with the wheelchair racing and then wheelchair tennis, and that is why now I'm one of the national Paralympic athletes doing wheelchair racing and also playing wheelchair tennis for Mother Ghana.
That's a fantastic one day. But then, I mean, looking at your background, what you have been through, yes, when the sports was introduced to you, you were like, well, I'm curious, let me go and try it. But was it also a way of trying to escape what you are going through? I mean, trying to do something for yourself, because at that time you were only hunting and, I mean, doing other stuff to keep you to make you survive or
Sure.
to survive on?
Sure.
Was it a way to escape from all the hassle that you were going through?
Yeah, I would say it was, because even though I was hunting, I was also reading for people. I was digging foundation, trench, wells to make ends meet.
So when you wait for someone, how much were you paid
So
them?
then a plot of land will be about 3. We'll go and we'll weed and then maybe take about was it 500?
500 cedis.
Not 500, but then it will be about not 200 but 20
20
20
cedis.
cedis.
Then was
Yeah.
which time?
Oh, then was about 95, 96, 2000, 2001.
So you are 3.
uh-huh.
You weed on a plot of land, and then
we
you
take-
earn like 20 cedis.
Yeah, 20
you share
cedis,
among
then we share
yourselves.
among ourselves.
Okay.
And so that was how we were managing. Some too, when they see, even sometimes when we are weeding for somebody and then the person comes to see the effort that I'm putting in, aside the money that the person will pay us, you see the person will give me something that I just like the effort you're doing, so you just take this for yourself. And so that was how I was managing, and that was how I was surviving too. So it wasn't easy, but I would say God knew what He was doing. And first, I used to regret that I was physically challenged, but I have now realized that God had a purpose for me to fulfill using my disability, and that is why this doctor injected me wrongly on my vein. You
Well, I know
understand?
your first international tournament was in 2014.
Yes. Okay, so actually it was 2011
2011.
when I joined the national team to Maputo. Maputo to represent Ghana in the All African Games.
So how did that happen, and how was the feeling like? You were like someone that at a point in time I was at my lowest, and now
Yeah.
I join sports and I get this opportunity to travel outside the country for the first time.
Yeah.
How was the feeling like?
Okay, so it was all tears of joy, Maclean, anytime. Like when I flash back at those moments, even as at now, I really say, Iradiwayebi, like God has really done something for me. And I'm very, very grateful that the stone that the builders rejected is now becoming the cornerstone. And so gradually, I've not gotten anywhere, but I'm still pressing on, knowing that with time, better things will happen in my life. Yeah.
But then the 2011, how did your selection come about? How did
Okay,
it come
so
about?
it was all about my effort to come and organize the workshop, and so two athletes were selected from the 10 regions. And so after the workshop, I happened to be the most improved and hardworking athlete. So I was given a racing chair, and so since I was given the racing chair, I always train. I said no, I'll have to do this to make Gendrisco very proud. And so I was training. And so before they did a justify to the All African Games at Legon, where as an up and coming athlete we were about 4, but out of the 4 athletes, I happened to win a bronze medal, and that qualified me to the All African Games in Maputo.
You were telling us, yes, what you've gone through, why you ended up taking sport. Now, when you entered sports, the field, who did you look up to?
Yeah.
Say, okay, this is the man who urged or gingered me to take up the sport. Who was it?
Okay, so first of all, I would say I looked up to Elvis Kosi Alupi. He's the coach for the basketball in the Greater Accra region. He really encouraged me and then told me what I can do out of the sports that I'm doing or the sports that they are doing. And also another senior colleague of mine, Rafa Bocho Nkegbe, they have been my backbone, they have been my inspiration. We live together, we share ideas together. And out of experiences I learned from them, that is how far I've got into in the sports.
Right now, from where you sit,
Yeah.
Yes, you are a national athlete. Yeah. Since 2011 when you came onto the scene. 2020, are you rich?
I wouldn't say I'm rich, but I'll say emphatically that God has been really good to me, looking at how I started in life and where I have gotten to and where I'm aiming to get to in life. I would say God has really been very, very good to me.
It has always been difficult. I mean, representing your nation, and I talk of this with regards to some things that we've seen or recorded incidents when it comes to para athletes. There is no money syndrome. Even when you put in your own effort, when you go through some of these things and you are able to make it to international events and you go through some of these difficulties, what comes to mind? Do you sometimes regret?
Okay, I don't regret, but because I've now gotten the passion to do sports, not only be or not for the fact that I'm physically challenged, but to inspire other person living with disabilities who have lost the hope, who haven't gotten hope to probably keep pressing on. So I use my life story to encourage them. And anytime like there's a disappointment, maybe there's no ticket to travel or any of those stuff, I just try to hold it because I've got some youngsters looking up to me. How would I react? How am I going to take this heartbreak? And I just ask myself, what do I do to inspire them? So I just keep it within me, but find other solutions just because I'm inspiring other disabled people in the country.
We know that, I mean, as Michael said earlier, it's always been difficult, especially when you are going for international competitions and getting the needed financial support from government. How are you able to fund for your international tournaments?
Okay, I will say emphatically that because of the good work some of us, the athletes, that we are doing by coming up with a club called the Go Get Them Wheelchair Racing Club, using our sports that we do to inspire other disabled people. Some benevolent individuals and
NGOs?
organizations and NGOs come to support us one way or the other.
Okay.
So, looking at the effort and how we are using the sport to change the life of other people, people see the good work that we are doing, and then sometimes they come to support. But the work cannot be done by only one company.
Yeah.
It's a collective, like it's a collection of companies that can come together and support such that they will also see our talent that we've gotten within us. So it is not easy. Sponsorship has never and ever been easy looking at the current economic trends. But we are trusting God and believing His works that
It will be better.
it will be
have
better.
have you ever, I mean, take it upon yourself to roam the streets of Accra just to look for sponsorship to travel for a particular competition? Have you ever done that before?
Sure. That is what we do.
You roam yourself?
Yeah, we write letters to companies explaining our capabilities, telling them our achievements, attaching our sports CV, what we've been able to achieve, and the reason why they
You need support.
Yeah, we need
And
support.
maybe out of 10 companies you write to, how many do you mostly get response?
Maybe I can get maybe one or two.
One or two out of 10.
Yes.
Interesting.
I respond. And so that it means that you have to put in maximum effort. You have to write to so many companies before you back it with prayers and hope for the better, that God will make a way.
So now, which of the disciplines are you a master of? I know you do a lot.
Yeah.
You do athletics, you do cycling and all that. Which of them are you really a master of?
Okay, so now I'm very good in the wheelchair racing,
Okay.
but I also love to play wheelchair tennis too, because anything that I take up to do, I do it with all my might, and so I do exploit in it. So it is now wheelchair racing and wheelchair tennis, but the favorite is wheelchair racing.
And with Paralympic sports, do you think that, fine, you would say that maybe they are not really getting the needed backing from government. They are not really, I mean, supported in any way. Do you think authorities, those handling the sports in Ghana, they are also doing the right thing?
Sure, to some extent, they are really doing their best. But the thing is, when our leaders write to the ministry, it is left with the ministry to decide as to who should get the fund or not. And so, my advice, or what I would suggest, is that aside writing to the ministries, our leaders also should seek for support from elsewhere, such that they can support the good work.
Like the corporate institutions.
Sure. So they can use to support the efforts that you are making.
So it shouldn't be always about government. They should
It
also
shouldn't
try and look
always,
somewhere else.
honestly.
So now, I mean, Maclean, how many countries have you traveled to?
That one, honestly,
Like
I can't
more
tell.
than
There are
10.
a lot. There are a lot.
Hey.
There are a lot. There are a lot. The good thing is that I traveled to these countries to raise the flag of Ghana,
Yeah,
or
high,
Mother Ghana
high.
high. So that is it. That is what I've said I'll do, and I thank God. I won gold medal in South Africa, in US. I've win so many glorious Kenya, Korea, UK, representing Ghana, making the world know that Ghana, we've got some capabilities when it comes to para sports and other stuff. And we are still pursuing the vision and the dream.
What has been your best moment in sport?
Oh, okay. So my best moment was when I won the gold medal in 2014 in South Africa, the 42.2 kilometer marathon. I had no hope, but with a little experience, Rafa Bocho Nkegbe taught me, and certain things and the effort that I put in, I had a gold. And that was my favorite, my best moment. Another best moment was when I won the 3 gold medals in 2016 at the USA, where I had a gold in 100 meters, 200 and 400 meters. Honestly, it was tears of joy, but I knew God has got better stuffs to do in the future.
What obviously has been your lowest or down moments?
I would say my down moment was when I trained almost about 6 months preparing for the 2018 Commonwealth, and I was expecting the NSA, like my mother country, to take me, and only had a disappointment that I wasn't going to go because there was lack of funds.
You had qualified,
Sure, I had qualified, but
but you couldn't make
yeah,
the cut.
I couldn't make the cut.
Even though you had already qualified.
Yeah, then it wasn't solely on qualification,
Qualification.
but it was your country that was supposed to bring their
Their
best.
athletes,
Yeah.
their best athletes.
So it was so heartbreaking after crediting tickets to go and then attend a qualify so I can be within the IPC ranked athletes from Ghana, and then we were only 3, and so they took 2, and then I was
You were
left.
dropped.
I was dropped.
Wow,
it was so heartbreaking, but
could
I know
imagine.
God has got better stuffs in future for man.
You've got, a great family, a supporting family. In all these, how are they, backing you? Because there was a phase, a supposed hunter turned a sportsman.
Yeah.
They were in support of what you were doing.
Sure.
Now taking to sports, how are they supporting you?
Yeah, okay, so I would say my wife, Vada Duamoko, who works with the judicial service, has really been supportive. He inspired me a lot in terms of support to she has been there for me. And so aside that, my fans, my friends around me, they've been cheering me up, they've been praying, my pastors, they've been praying for me to keep pressing on, that God will do better things in my life.
In your life.
And so this has been the inspiration. And also I've got friends outside like Nijivuji, who has no arms. They are some of the people that I look up to. When I watch their video,
You get inspired.
nothing tells me not to make it in life. And so Jindrisco, Bocho Nkegbe, and some others that
Yeah.
really are inspiration to me.
To you.
Like, so I look up to those people and I keep pressing on.
Did you meet your wife through sports? Or you met her long before?
Oh, okay. So we all attended Accra Technical University.
Oh, okay. So it was campus love, eh?
Yeah, that was how we met.
How many children do you have?
So I now have a 11-month-year-old
Okay, you have one
baby girl.
Oh.
Yeah, so
okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, from the campus love to now, now they are happily married with one child. Well, so Maclean, I mean, with all that you've been through and now where you've gotten to, how did your family take it? I mean, looking at where you've gotten to now.
yeah. You see, I would say that at first I was the rejected stone in my family. I wasn't even part of them when decisions
Do you have
were.
other siblings?
Sure, we are 5.
Okay.
And I'm the last but one born.
Oh.
So Mary is the last.
Yeah, Mary is the last one. So, but now, through the effort of what God is doing in me, I now say that when decisions are taken in the family, I'm included.
Wow.
And that is what God can do. From nowhere, and then turning it into something. So we thank God.
So aside sports, are there other things that you do to keep yourself busy?
Okay, so aside the sports, I'm a grass cutter farmer
Okay.
and now trying to go into poultry.
Wow.
And so it's not easy now trying to do a new establishment at a place. I will need support probably to expand the grass cutter farming and also add the poultry to it.
So where is
But
your grass cutter farm located now?
yeah,
In Accra here?
yeah, it's in Dodowa.
Okay.
It's in Dodowa, but I'm hoping to do the extension of the poultry somewhere else. So that could also serve as a means of surviving for me.
What are you hoping to achieve with sports? Where have you envisaged to see yourself in some years to come?
Oh, okay, so the dream of every para athlete is to represent his nation in Paralympics, and that is what I'm yearning for. And so this year I'm only left with 5 microseconds. I'm supposed to make 16:20 to qualify to Tokyo, and I'm making 16:25. So I have to reduce that 5 microseconds to make the qualification time. But with the COVID-19, everything has been postponed to next year, and so we're hoping that next year things will pick up. There will be no more coronavirus, and then we can gain back our faith and stuff, and then keep pressing on.
So now your major dream is just to qualify to the Paralympics,
and then represent Mother Ghana in the Paralympics.
Are you also hoping to probably become a coach and also be able to inspire people like you? You know, there are lots of people that just need someone to talk to, give them that words of encouragement.
Sure. Honestly, just as you are saying, I can't do the sports forever. Maybe by 45 or 50, I will have the plan to retire. So apparently, I've also wished to be a coach, and so I've been doing some level 1 course in wheelchair racing and then wheelchair tennis, gathering the certificates by the age of maybe 40, 45. Then I can fully say I'm a coach and can do the work of a coach. And so that is what I'm also looking at, representing Ghana in the Paralympics for some time, and then now becoming one of the national coach to coach my colleagues who have some sort of deformity and want to do parasports.
How do you see living in Ghana if you're a person with disability and you are living in Ghana, how do you find it? Do you think there are much more we need to do to help people like that?
Sure, honestly, there's much more to do. Our support system in the country is not helping. Even as a para-athlete, I don't get any allowance every month from the government, irrespective of the glorious and the medals that I've won for the country. And so it is my prayer that the Ministry of Youth and Sports will have some special package for para-athletes who have been serving the nation for some time now. So at least we'll be put on payroll, and then we can one day stand somewhere and say, we did para-sports in Ghana, and we will never regret. But as of now, we are not on payroll unless maybe the nation travels with us, and then we get some per diem, which is making life really a Herculean task to some of us. But we are never giving up. We are praying that if our leaders will listen to this presentation and this Untold Studio stories with Star FM, at least they will have a change of mind to probably think about putting the para athletes on the payroll.
You've won a lot of gold medals for Ghana. Mostly when our athletes go out there to win gold medals, they go and present it to the president, and then there are some promises made, and sometimes the president also fulfilled those promises. Have that been ever done for you?
So when I won my 3 gold medals in the USA, we took it to Okovandapoy, and then presented it to him. We showed it to the NSA director, and then presented it to him. And
it went to the presidency?
No, we didn't get to that late. The stage we got to was the Minister for Youth and Sports, and so that was the only stage we got to. But let's see, we are still pressing on. I will send you pictures for you to see all those presentations.
But nothing came out of that.
Nothing came out of that.
In terms of monetary rewards.
Nothing came out of that.
When you go back and think about all these things, is Ghana worth dying for, regardless of what you've become?
Honestly, so it is one question that I always ask myself, that so is Ghana worth dying for? Because after all this effort and glorious I've won for Mother Ghana.
You only live on per diems.
Yes.
That's what you only get when you travel with a team.
Sure.
And
And
that
so
will be like how much?
it will depend. It varies. It varies depending on the
Kind of
committee.
tournament,
Sure,
yeah.
sure, that
Okay.
you attend. So we're still managing. We are not giving up. We are still pressing on because we love Mother Ghana, and we're going to go all out for it. We are not doing the sports because we want money or we want per diem. We are also using it to inspire other disabled people.
But it is your work.
who
You are
are
working for
giving
it,
up,
so you
yeah.
need to be paid for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we are hoping structures will be put in place to help us and then solve that problem.
Well, now if Maclean didn't venture into sports, what would you have do? What kind of profession would you have ventured into? Is it farming?
Best hunter in Ghana.
No, I'm an account officer.
Okay.
And so in any administrative work Maclean I can do. Any administrative work, working in the bank, in the ministry, any institution I can do because I've got the capabilities and my certificate speaks for me. But when you are not getting a job, then
And you are not getting it not because you are not good.
no, because the institution or the infrastructures are not
friendly.
accessible. Then there's a need to look elsewhere to survive, and that is why I still hunt. And then
You still hunt?
yeah, I still hunt, and so and I'm still into grass cutter farming, trying to make ends meet out of that. So
We'll-
and then doing the sports.
Okay, we'll be wrapping up very soon, but
Sure.
you made a statement that with how God has positioned you now,
Yeah.
you termed it as a blessing in disguise,
Sure.
even with the doctor that gave you that wrong injection.
Yeah. So I would say that you see, in every challenge that one finds himself, I believe there's a reason for that challenge.
Okay.
Maybe that challenge is to build you for the future.
Okay.
Maybe that challenge you go through is to prepare you for something, maybe a bigger task ahead. And so I say to every problem, once you have God, there's a solution.
There's a solution. Is that doctor alive?
For now I
You
can't
don't
tell because
even
I
know.
was so
You
young.
are you were
by
very young then.
But
yeah.
I mean, do your mom sometimes tell you about that story?
Yeah, but
The
she
harm has
says-
already been caused.
Yeah, the harm has been caused. Let's just look at how man can make it and focus and keep pressing on in life than to say, yeah, there's a problem, it has happened. And I thank God. God knew why I came into this state, or I became physically challenged. Maybe if I was an able-bodied, I wouldn't have gotten to
All
where
the
I've gotten
opportunities
to.
that you've gotten so far.
So, Bibia Nyame ye bia no. There's a reason.
Yeah, there
Whatever
is.
God does, there's a reason for it.
And you are a very hard-working man. I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, you are very hard-working. From where you were, many people would have been very disturbed,
Sure,
emotionally
sure.
traumatized, and maybe ended up taking up their own life or something.
Yeah. I've had some friends. One died at Tema, one died at Ashama.
They killed themselves.
They
committed
poisoned
suicide.
themselves and
Wow.
just wrote that they could not cope with the challenges of life.
Wow.
They're also
Honestly,
disabled.
yeah, physically challenged. The stigmatization, the treatment. If you don't have a Christian family and the society in which you live in are not like God-fearing, sometimes it can lead you to death, because the way some people will treat you, my brothers and sisters, it is not easy.
It's not
But
easy.
sometimes when people like that meet some of us, we use our life story to encourage them and make them know that there's always light at the tunnel.
So we will be wrapping up very soon. But before we go, Maclean, I mean, during your leisure time or your free time, what do you mostly do? When you are not training, when you are out of this whole industry,
Yeah.
what do you do?
I like to hunt a lot.
Oh, okay. So hunting is your hobby.
Sure, I'll say hunting is my hobby because it's been something that I've been doing like to survive.
Who introduced
see.
you to hunting?
Honestly, it's in the family.
Okay.
My
your
dad
a
was
hunter.
once working with atomic energy,
Okay.
but was farming simultaneously. So sometimes we go to the farm. When we go, we've got dogs. Sometimes we chase these rodents, and then so it's like we've got a passion for it. But fine, sometimes I listen to music and then I read.
And what kind
I
of
read a
music
lot.
do you listen to?
Oh, country music.
Hey,
Oh, wow.
you are not local crowd, international.
No, pa, bim, bim, bim.
So that's Maclean Atsu Dzidienyu. I just hope that I got the name right this time around. And I mean, it was such an inspiring story. I am inspired because I mean, people that are even not living with disability, there are so many things that we think we are restricted from, but he didn't see that as a restriction and also continued to pursue his dream. This is the untold story, and I know you have been inspired by the story, the life story of Maclean Atsu Dzidienyu. And we will come your way again. We will come your way again with another interesting story. My name is Betty Yosin, and Michael Isian Oche was my co-host, and Maclean Atsu Dzidienyu was our guest on the show. Before we come your way again, peace out.